All right. Welcome, everybody. Got another 1 hour Dune here. Playing all expansions with Jeff. I am playing the Harkonnen. Jeff decided to play Atreides. I have put the objective that Jeff is going to go for in the top left-hand corner here. Obviously, I didn't know this at the time, but it is good to know. I am going to play a different type of strategy here, where I am going to try to keep my harvesters alive and score spice points. We'll see how that works. So my theory here is I want to put my smuggler carryall in a place where it can pick up all three of my smuggler harvesters. And then I'll move my other harvesters out a little bit further away in the deep desert and give him some choices to make. Jeff has the Desert War objective, which is for people in the desert. I expect he'll probably go for that because that's useful if you're also going to get harvesters, so you can double up on that objective. So I just want to try to make it difficult for him to score points. He's going to open with some desert power, linking up a eco station. And I have not actually rolled my dice yet, so we're just picking up on that now here. All right, so I will roll my dice. It's not a bad spread here. As Harks, it's generally a good idea to have lots of movement, but in the expansions, it's also important to have some of the other stuff, so I think it's okay to have a decent spread like this. All right, so how do we keep harvesters alive? So for those of you who are not super familiar with the expansions, essentially you get bonus stuff as Atreides for killing harvesters. And if you kill smuggler harvesters, then they never come back. Smuggler harvesters only pull in one spice instead of two, regardless of what desert space they're in. So I'm going to open with Workhorse of Arrakis. That lets me add a harvester and a carryall and then draw 2 cards. Since I'm planning on playing the long game, I'm going to prioritize saving smuggler harvesters and drawing cards. So we'll see how that works. All right, Jeff plays a Lady Jessica to draw a card. He chooses an Atreides card. That is typically what I will pick. And then he will play Truth Trance, which obligates me to play a dice of his choice next turn, and he's going to pick a leadership dice. That's a bummer for me because then I have to play the beast dice before the beast comes out. And then he also plays Spacing Guild Bribes, which puts a permaban on the Spacing Guild, meaning I can never scout this game. Okie dokie. Well, that's a bummer. I do like scouting sometimes because it can break objectives. I am trying to play a deployment dice here to pull some stuff, and Jeff says, hey, you can't do that because I told you you have to play Truth Trance and do the leader dice. So this is an awkward move for me because I do not yet have a death ball. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how that goes. I'm going to spend some time trying to figure out what leaders to move. And my ideas are, okay, maybe I can cover eco stations, but I'm trying to remember that my goal is to cover harvesters this turn. So I'm going to move these guys out to shield wall, and then, oh no, yep, to shield wall, and then that way they are 2 spaces away from the eco station and also 2 spaces away from the harvester in the bottom corner. I then need to move another set of leaders, so I will make a ball in the basin over here with an ornithopter. So that was a very gross feeling movement there. All right, Jeff is going to do what? Desert Power here, probably? Yep. Okay, so he's going to link up these two sieges here. All right, I don't mind that. His other objectives in the corner are to get on mountains, which he doesn't appear to be pushing too hard for. And I don't know what the last one is, but put Paul and Jessica in the same siege at the end of the turn. So, okay. Now what to do? He's not threatening any of my harvesters yet, so I don't really need to go and cover him. I also don't have a clear path to get to my first points on the board. So I suspect I'll probably deploy. Nope. In fact, I'm going to move. So moving to the eco station there is an interesting choice. And these guys are going to move up closer to cover a harvester. Oof, man. I don't know how I feel about those movements. I guess I'm a little worried he's going to Stilgar. I mean, I guess I know he's going to Stilgar at some point, so by moving out to the eco stations, I'm kind of delaying his Stilgar move, because now he has one good move to a harvester and another to link up, but he doesn't really have a third. So, just trying to make it awkward for him. Putting two elites and a regular out at the eco station, I mean, he could take that if he really wants, but he probably needs to deploy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was good or not. Okay, so now he's going to desert power the other direction so that he now has a 3 Stilgar move. Okay. And then he's also going to threaten that harvester. Actually, that's an interesting placement up there because he threatens 2 harvesters because he can get to 2 different smuggler harvesters with that legion up there. So I'm going to go ahead and defend it. I'll put one group of people out on one harvester. And I mean, that's enough to discourage him from attacking as is. And then I'll move my other unit down on this harvester. And the reason, so this second unit here is now almost within striking, well, it is within striking distance if I drop an ornithopter to that siege. And sure enough, he's going to Stilgar. Okay. So 1 to take that harvester. Always take the harvester that's being covered by the carryall first, so good move there. And now he gets to pick house troops as his bonus there. If you're not too familiar with expansions, house troops are basically regulars and leaders merged up together. His second is to take out another harvester, and that one he decides to move the Spacing Guild people up. Okay. And then third, he's going to move into the desert to get closer to that harvester and not link people up. So now he's got 3 units in the desert. Okay. He also left that siege open. But I don't have a ornithopter there yet. And he has some moves left where he can cover the siege again, so I'm going to try to delay before I commit to attacking. I know I need to save 1 house dice for an ornithopter and 1 for attacking. That means I have my deployment dice available, and a house dice available potentially. So I think probably deploy the beast. Put him somewhere sort of useful, maybe in North Pole or something. Or maybe house dice to upgrade some elites. I don't know what the right move is. I'm just going to play an ornithopter and Probably another ornithopter. No, I guess only one ornithopter because I don't have 2 attacks I can make. And then I'll deploy a harvester out in my carryalls region. I think if I remember this game right, I think I changed the location of that harvester to cover the north carryall, which would be a more effective move, or maybe not, maybe I forget. Anyway, you should move it up to an area where there's a carryall, because that way if there's a worm there, it can pick it up. All right, so let's see. Jeff plays a leader dice and puts Paul in a siege. Okay, so he can bring Jessica out there later, maybe. And then he does a double leader move, one to get a harvester. Moves the Spacing Guild guys up again. I think that's okay, maybe. I don't really know too much about the Atreides concept. Okay, and then he's also splitting up a legion down south. Interestingly, he's splitting up his double elites, which is a powerful legion, which means I'm not too worried about an Atreides death ball right away. Okay. That seems fine. So now he's basically guaranteed he can get Desert War, because I don't have any way of killing all those guys. I can do an attack, and then a deploy, and then a house dice. And I choose to deploy. I think if I play an Ornithopter last round, I probably want to deploy. I probably just want to attack this round, take the open siege, right? I don't know. All right. Well, I deploy the beast in the North Pole. And Jeff is going to mentat, so he's going to keep his house dice. He's going to draw 2, one of each. Okay. Come on, Wombat, let's attack, right? I mean, he's got a deploy dice there. I guess maybe I'm trying to see if he's going to deploy into the open spot, which obviously has got to be a 1 at this point, or if he's going to deploy somewhere else. I don't really have any ways of stopping objectives. He's probably going to deploy where Paul is and then score Jessica and the Desert War. So if he does that, I can just attack and call it good. So I'll use the Ornithopter. We'll claim a 1. That gets me the 4. And 1 point. And that's it. And sure enough, he deploys Jessica where Paul is. That's going to be a pretty good turn for him. He's going to get a bunch of objective points. And then I have a house dice, and I could either upgrade or I could put harvesters on the board. Again, my game plan is to try to win with spice. So I'm going to go with harvesters, and we're going to see what happens. I do remember here to put them up at the open carryall, so even though I didn't remember last turn, remembering this turn's good. So, okay, Jeff is going to worm sign. Lots of worms to worm sign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Almost every worm sign out, so he's going to have like all 4 worms here probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's okay, though. He got 2 harvesters with worms, but I have 2 carryalls out on the board. So I'll get to save those both. So that's pretty cool. And then he can retreat me probably into the deep desert. And, yep, all my regular guys are saved. So I'm going to get 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 spice. That's pretty great. Arcs are capped at 1 spice upgrade for each faction, each turn, I think. So I'll spend 2, 4, 6, keeping my guys happy. I'll spend 3 to purchase a point, that's 9, and then I'll save 1, which is 10, and then I'll waste 1 for 11. So, yep. Okay, go ahead and do storms. All right, it should be, I think, 4 out of 6 successes, so should be like 1.5 hits per. Got 2 and then 1. So he's got 3 hits total. Yep, a couple more. Nope, double miss. Okay. Maybe a little bit below average. All right, so I get 1 point for buying. And then he scores 2 green. And then he also is going to score for the desert. And then he's also going to move up the Spacing Guild one, as will I. So spending 2 spice on each gives me 2 house troops, 1 frigate, and 1 space move. And then I'll get a second space move. And even though I have a permaband on Spacing Guild, you're still allowed to feed them in exchange for goods. So, all right. Well, that was a very harvester intensive turn. And now, after drawing 1 of each card, I'll get to deploy 6 harvesters again. And so here's kind of the cool thing. If your harvesters survive the first turn, then it's a little bit easier to deploy them because you've broken up a siege at that point, right? Like I could deploy the harvesters down south where those sandworms are. If a sandworm kills a smuggler harvester, I get it back next turn, unlike if an Atreides legion kills it, which gives them a movement and then also it permasinks it. So I don't know where I'll put these guys. Maybe out in the desert? I think I should just put them up by the beast. Yeah. Yeah, I think by the beast with the carryall is a good idea again. Yep, there we go. And this is an interesting tidbit. You can put your harvesters on places where you have troops because the requirement is a free location, not an empty location. So I'll just put them out where they're covered again. And I'll drop a carryall in a spot that can cover 2 of the 3. And the third one's tucked in pretty close back there, so we're probably okay. And then I'll drop harvesters out where they can be picked up by a carryall. And I'm putting them in spots where all 3 can be picked up. If he wants to use desert power to eat my carryalls, that's probably, or to eat my harvesters, that's probably okay. And I'll drop some ornithopters out. I have to take at least 1, probably 2 sieges this turn, I would think. Even if I'm playing the long game, you don't want it to go too long. Okay. Yep. Final answer for those. No, no. Yeah. Okay. Final answer. Interesting to note, I don't have any good attack cards in my hand at the moment. So, yep. And he's got send Paul to the tank. He's got a double minor erg, and he's got to remove a deployment token, double deployment, or reveal 2 deployment tokens from Paul. But since he's got the 3 green card and he's got a green objective, I would probably push and get that done right away, especially because Paul's on the board. All right, nice spread, lots of attacks, no mentat. I guess, yeah, we'll see how Jeff wants to open this. He says he can't believe he's going to do this, but he's going to kill Paul to get the 3 points. So that's a pretty normal tell, I feel like. And by that I mean he's gone for a double green objective and he's gone for a 3-point green objective. So that lines up with he's got to get 9 or 10 green objectives there. He also is trying to push to get smugglers out, which I've been doing a good job of keeping them at bay by not letting the Harkonnen or the smugglers go down. And I am trying to double down on that by attacking the siege that is closest to where those smuggler harvesters are at. So this is not a particularly strong group, but I know his double elite has already been used, so the most I'm expecting is 3 hit points, maybe 4 hit points if you count the leader. He has 3, so 5 dice, and he does not choose to discard, which I think is correct. And he rolls 5 hits. I have 1 Sardaukar, but it doesn't matter. So I take 2 and do 4 damage. That was a pretty good roll. I'll lose an elite. And then I get a 3-point siege for that. Now, I lost an elite, and that kind of wears that group down pretty good. But again, the goal I'm trying for here is to keep harvesters alive and to try to delay the arrival of the smugglers and delay the power of the Spacing Guild folks. All right. So now where are my other points on the board? I have 1 open siege up in the top left-hand corner. I have 1 open siege in the bottom right-hand corner. He is either going to make a play for ergs, or he is going to make a play to get Paul by 2 deployment tokens. Neither one of those are particularly easy, so he might just go for eco stations instead. We'll see. He's going to go ahead and mentat. That seems fine. He doesn't have any worms that he has to use here right away. There's no, like, killer worm attack. So, alright, he's going to put a Smuggler Ornithopter out on the board with drone Ornithopters and move Staben down 1. So that moves Staben from 7 to 6, it looks like. And then he also plays Shai-Hulud. Okay, so he put Shai-Hulud out there next to the only real army I have on the board. Okay. So now I assume he's going to attack one of these armies. I also assume I need to get another siege by using these armies. And I don't really have great movement cards, and my Ornithopters are not in good position, so I'm just going to kind of limp my armies together. Move these guys 1 closer, and then I'll move Beast out to this other group. I think I should probably move all 3 so I have 2 groups of 5. I figure Shai-Hulud's going to hit 1, but maybe I leave 1 back. Yeah, it looks like I leave 1 back. I don't think that's the right move, but I think Paul's supposed to be up 1. No, maybe not. I don't know. All right, Shai-Hulud kills 5 guys. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's unfortunate. So now I'm definitely wishing I brought my last regular out there. Ooh, brutal worm hit there. But let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to group Beast up with this other unit here. So now I have a group of 5 with 2 Sardaukar, and then I'll move this unit down here to the eco station within striking distance of the open siege down there. He's going to deploy. Yeah, he did notice Paul needs to go out. Okay. Yep. So Paul goes out, Stilgar comes in, he deploys on that siege. I don't really want to attack that siege with 5 units. So I'm going to take the freebie, I think. Yep. Okay. Take that with the Ornithopter. That's probably a 2. Yeah, it's a 2. Okay, so that's 5 points, and he gets a second Bene Gesserit token for the turn. Okay. And I need 3 more points to win, so that was pretty quick. We have 1 open siege, and I'm also holding on to Harkonnen patrols, so that could make good for that one. But unless I get lucky and find the last 3 siege, then I'm probably going to need 2 sieges to win. All right, he's going to Stilgar, and he's going to reinforce that one with the Sandworm. And he's going to move these guys to get an eco station. That's cool. Oh no, to get a harvester. Okay. So he gets a harvester and then moves the spacing guild up for a landing phase to get his 4 house troops out on the board. Is that necessary? It might be. See where he puts them. In a defensive position, it looks like. So his choices are he can kind of deploy him out to get eco stations. He can, yeah. All right, and then he groups up and has a death ball up in the corner. So that, I mean, that death ball is like a good force potentially for taking, for taking cities and villages. I play this card, which lets me moving the battle group, which lets me put 2 elites and a leader in a mountain space. And I'm making a mistake here because I think that I have a card that adds Fade Rautha and 2 elites into any legion. But instead, I actually have a card that says place 2 elites in Fade's Legion. So, yeah. A little bit of a mistake here. But there's really not a better place to play those guys unless I was going to put them in the North Pole, maybe. And then go for a big attack. Okay. He's going to worm a harvester. He is out of dice, so yeah, and here's the mistake I make. I think what the correct move to have done would have been to do Harkonnen patrols and then take the empty siege up there and then plan my last move. But here I decide that I'm going to do the move that isn't allowed. I think my thought was I was going to attack that with 4 elites. But that says place 2 elites in the legion containing Fade, so that is an illegal move. So I gotta fix that. So I try to get a little cheeky here. Again, had I done Harkonnen patrols, I could have skipped this nonsense, but I think I'm going to move my Sardaukars here with a card. Because I can move the Sardaukar Legion. I can change, if I play Sardaukar Disguised, I can upgrade one of those elites to a Sardaukar and then move them with the Ornithopter that I don't have closer to the, ugh, man, what a gross situation I've got here. Okay, so I'm gonna, what a waste. Okay, I'm going to play a vehicle dice to put an ornithopter out so I can move my guys with my Sardaukar movement dice, and then I can then attack with my leader dice. And again, I could have just, instead of doing that, I could have just done Harkonnen patrols and then an attack, but maybe I didn't have a strategy dice, so I don't know. Anyway, he's got worms. Okay, he's going to move that up to get Eco Station next turn rather than pick off that army, which I think is probably a good move. And he moves those guys out closer to me too. Okay. So now I have to spend my deployment dice to move my Sardaukar people, or to upgrade a Sardaukar. Yep. Man, what a waste of dice there. Okay. And then so yes. And then I move those guys back. Man, what a waste. Okay. And then he has just desert power, can't do much of anything. He can worm. If he uses that worm to hit that harvester, he also gets to, yeah, that's the right move there. Okay, he kills a harvester. He gets to roll 4 dice to kill some troops. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. He's got 3 hits. Okay. Leader dice for here. That's probably a 1 because he didn't make any effort there. Yeah, bummer. So I wasted 1, 2, 3, 4 dice to get that done instead of 2. Embarrassing. Bad luck, Wombat. All right. The good news is he can't score any of those. He probably keeps Minor Erg because it's worth 2 green. Yeah. All right, so just a point check for Jeff here. He is 1 away. No, he's 1, 2, 3, 4 green points away. And he also needs to get 5 more yellow. So could be eco stations, could be the objectives that pop up. But really, he's got to make a push for the cities here, I think. He's got a big group. He's got a Sandworm up. He can get to Arrakeen in, 1. If he puts a worm sign down, he can go 1, 2, 3, 4 moves to Arrakeen. So I think this turn he's got to plan for Arrakeen. Okay, that was an interesting round there. I think I'll end up with a decent amount of spice. Losing some Sardaukar. Lots of storm damage. Okay. Okay, so because I have both 1s, I know I am 1 single siege away. So I have 2, 4, 5 plus 1 I saved is 6. So I can keep everything on board and I can get 1 point of everything. So I can get 2 more house troops, a bombarder, a frigate, and then I can get a bonus spacing guild move, which that's going to give me a landing phase here. And a landing phase with 2 frigates and 6 troops is pretty good. So this is definitely, I think, going to be the end of the round here, or the end of the game this coming round. Now, I'm trying to think. I just need one siege, and he has to basically take Arakeen. So I need to give him some difficult choices here. So I'm going to try to position my landing force in a space that can threaten two areas, my frigates in the space that can soften things up, and then my goal is to just try to get him to under reinforce one specific area and then attack it. So I think up top is where I put these guys. Yeah, because threatening two different sieges is better than threatening one. And then putting a frigate in a spot where it can either transport troops or it can bombard troops is good. Right there, it can do both. And right there, it can do one of the two. Okay. Now I can put my guys back out. And because I think this is going to be the end of the round, I don't know. Also, are we playing the Smugglers wrong? Does Staben move up once a turn, no matter what? I think we might be playing the Smugglers wrong. I'll have to look that up. Because I don't think we moved Staben up last turn, and we definitely didn't move him up this turn. So maybe that's the case? I don't know. But I've got all three Smuggler Harvesters still, so that's pretty cool. I kind of want him to push for stuff this round because, like if he starts taking Harvesters, that's better than him getting points. And that's nice. Okay, so I have Harkonnen Sword Masters. That could make my Sword Master group up north pretty good. I have the Fade card, so I could deploy Fade and then reinforce him. Then I've got a leader dice, which is good because then I can move an attack. The Ornithopters give me range of 2, but the Harkonnen craft gives me range of 3. So that means I could actually deploy Fade in the basin and then hit a siege right away. Or I could use both of these bombers to bomb the siege. I could use the sword masters to hit his sword masters. I've got a few different options here. I could also just hit the siege in the top right hand corner with 6 sword masters right away and see what happens. I have some cards to drop, so maybe that could be good. And then really, I'm mostly worried about green scoring. Like taking over Arakeen is really what I'm worried about. But he's going to open with a deploy, so that seems good because I think the Sword Masters take out that spot. If not. So, okay. Then I'll deploy. So let's get Fade on the board here and start making these difficult choices more difficult. So now Fade, with his ability, can actually reach that siege in the left-hand side of the board here. So he probably needs to deploy there too. No, he's just scoring for free. Okay. So he's going to score a green and or yellow and a red, or a red and a yellow. Okay. It's going to bring out Chani. So Jeff's got 4 dice. He's going to use his house to deploy. And he's got a Mentat and 3 others. I'm a little bit worried. I'm still worried about Arakeen, because if he can deploy that Smuggler Ornithopter, he could do a surprise attack in Arakeen. I don't know. But now he's covered up the Fade attack pretty well. So in each area, he's got a handful of units. That all seems pretty good. I don't know what I'm looking for here. I must be looking for the range of a troop transport is probably what's going on here. Okay, so now he's got I think we needed to discard that deployment dice that he just played from his house dice. Yeah, I think we missed that. Because he just used a Bene Gesserit to deploy, I think. Because he's got one used deploy dice. That's all right. Okay. So I play Harkonnen Swordmasters to sort of ratchet up the pressure over there. Oh yeah, we just caught the Chani play there with the Bene Gesserit token. Perfect. Yep. Okay. So we're all caught up. So he fixed the deployment, and then I pointed out I did Swordmasters. So now it is his turn, I think. And for me, okay. So he does 2 worm signs heading into the North Pole. I would be happy if that's what he decided to do. Although he probably does that with his Swordmasters. All right, I have a house dice to do 3 upgrades. I know Fade is a possibility to attack Chani's Sea Chair, so that seems like a good upgrade. Now I've got six people that could hit a siege that's got 2 deployment tokens on there. Yeah, that seems like this is going my way here. All right, and Jeff is going to do Stilgar, just regular 2 Stilgar moves. Oh, okay. There you go. Get a yellow, brings in Reverend Mother. Then he can get the base in and push everything up a little bit further. Get an eco station. Yep. Cool. Okay, red. I think he was probably hoping for green there. I'm pretty sure we're playing Staben incorrectly. He probably should have Smugglers out right now. I'm not sure how much that changes the game, except for it would potentially put the Swordmasters in range of Arakeen. I'd have to deploy there. All right. Have a move, but I don't want to use that yet. Let's just use Mentat and draw 3. The idea behind drawing 3 cards here is just to have some to discard in final combat, because I think I'm ramping up to try to end it here with this last attack. And so green has an attack and a Mentat left. So even if his Mentat is an attack, I don't think he can confidently take Arakeen. It is difficult as an Atreides player to get the hang of stringing together a death ball. I do have a couple examples of it on this channel, so if you're watching some Wombat Plays Atreides, you will probably see a few examples of me putting together a big group and going on a rampage. I think that's the most effective way to try to win as Atreides. Sometimes things don't work out, but that's usually what I like to go for. All right. So Jeff is going to use Mentat. He's going to draw 2 and play 1. both Atreides cards. Probably hoping for a good attack card here. I think his best hope is... I'm not sure. Not sure what his best hope is here. Probably place Paul and the Fadakin in his Swordmaster group, attack the Basin, and then follow up with an attack on Carthag, and then first attack next turn, attacking into Arakeen. Probably. Or, let's see, Wall of Sandworms. Okay, places a Sandworm and then does a Desert Power. Okay, so his thought is let's attack the Swordmasters because that seems to be a threat. And he's got 5 damage. That kills all my Swordmasters, so much for those guys. Okay, that was efficient. That makes it pretty clear what I need to do with Fade. So my play is definitely to go after Chani. And I have a couple of interesting ways I can go about it. I have Harkonnen troop carriers, and I drew that with my Thwiffer card. Typher, Hawat. All right, so I will play, first I'll play spotting things to take away Wormsign and then draw 2 planning cards. And again, the idea is to draw cards to discard. Then my plan is to play troop carriers, and then my plan is to probably upgrade, and then my plan is probably to do or maybe a move and then a surprise attack. Yeah, I think surprise attack's probably better with Fade. So yeah, 1 house dice to play troop carriers, 1 strategy dice to move, and then a surprise attack to... Actually, I don't even know if I need to do that. Yeah. All right. Okay, so jump ahead here real quick. Jeff takes the Basin, and then that puts out the Smugglers. And so when you put out the Smugglers, you first get rid of all Harkonnen smuggling vehicles, and then you put out all air power. Maybe there's a play where you have like an aircopter battle, maybe? I don't exactly know how that works. Guess we'll find out. But my troop carriers allow me to move 4 spaces. So I think we'll be okay there. So all my vehicles go away. And then he's going to drop his smugglers nearby the North Pole. That seems okay. All right, and I will do a move. Or no, I'll play a strategy dice to play troop carriers. And that lets me move guys 4 spaces. And I don't think his Ornithopter could pick off my troop carrier at this point. But I don't actually know. All right, then he's going to use Staben to have a Desert Power attack on these guys. That's going to give him the Bloody Swords objective, which is pretty cool. And then that will put him 2 points away from winning, which is awfully close. Awfully close. Well, 2 points from winning green, 1 point for yellow. Very close. Alright, so I'm dead. He kills my Sardaukar, and then I have a regular that can retreat. Yep. Okay, we'll go ahead and do a free action on those guys to do an attack. If I don't, it just goes away at the end of the turn, so I think that makes sense. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a surprise attack out here. And maybe I should have done my house dice to upgrade, but I just didn't want to risk him going into, having something that I didn't think about. So I'm 1 hit point under strength here, but with a surprise attack, I think I'm okay. The worst he could have here would be 3 Fatakin and an Elite. But he actually just has 1 Fatakin and 3 regulars, so I'm pretty confident I'll win this here. So I roll my 6. He has a Chani. I get rid of 2 shields. He has a Fatakin to get rid of 1. And then this is just why surprise attacks are so good. All right, he does 3, but I block 2. So he has 1 left over, and I have 4. So he's got to take 4 damage. And I take 1. And then I have to spend another 1 to press after he takes his damage. So he should lose his 3 regulars here. Nope, maybe he doesn't have the cards to discard. Yeah, all right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And I downgrade, and he's going to discard some cards, and I'm going to discard nothing. And roll. And let's see. Very good. That is game. Good job, Fade. He's going to deal 4, but I'll block 2. So I'll take 2, and he'll take 6. And that'll be the game. And he will end up 3 points short on green, 1 point short on yellow. So Arakeen was the difference on there. Thanks to Jeff for playing. I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of view of the expansions. It does slow the game down a bit, even though we did 3 turns here. It definitely was a slower paced game. I feel like more methodical, more objective scoring. The Atreides were pretty close. So all that being said, if you have not tried the expansions out, I think it's worth a go. I actually got more from the Smugglers version than the Atreides did on this one. Whether or not we played the Staben rule wrong, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it would have dramatically impacted it, but I guess it could have. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you around.